Hey everyone, welcome to the PCS-Proof Podcast, where we're covering the vital things you need to know to thrive in every season of military life. I'm your host and milspouse fitness expert, Grace Barnick-Damazo, and I encourage you to join me each week as we dive deep into topics like fitness, wellness, and entrepreneurship as a military spouse so that you can maintain your own sense of identity and purpose, conquering every transition with strength and resilience. As we journey together, you can expect uplifting conversations and insights. We'll share some laughs, and you can count on me to keep it real so that together we can become truly PCS-proof. Now let's get into it. Welcome back to the PCS-Proof Podcast. I'm super happy that you're here for another episode, and this is going to be kind of a unique episode. I'm getting ready to head out of town. We're going on a kind of a shorter vacation, I guess. We're leaving for the better part of a week. And it's just one of the fun parts of being in military life is that you do have the opportunity to travel and see places that you maybe never thought you'd be able to. So we're going to go check out a different country. While we're stationed here in Japan, we're going to head outside of Japan and go try checking out a different nearby country. And I was packing up my bags, and one of the things that we love to do while we're on vacation is to work out. We like to take advantage of the extra freedom in our schedule. I know that sounds silly, but it's something that we really enjoy doing. And I was making sure that I packed a few pieces of equipment in my luggage. And it made me start to think, if I was getting ready to maybe PCS or live out of a suitcase for an extended period of time, maybe that's the situation that you're preparing for, getting ready for, what are the pieces of equipment that I would want to make sure that I had on hand? What are the tools that I would want to make sure that I had available to myself so that I could at least be able to get in a workout in the hotel or be able to have something to use while I'm traveling for an extended period of time, maybe not having access to a gym? And I wanted to share some of my favorite tools, some of the things that I recommend to my clients all of the time that are extremely portable, most of which are extremely inexpensive, and they're just great tools to have in your arsenal. And you may remember back in episode 2 when we talked about PCS-proofing our lives, we talked about the difference between tools, the stuff, and the principles, really like core principles behind our priorities. And I kind of explained that the tools and the stuff, those are things that can change. Those are the things that we can play around with and have some flexibility around because we can use multiple tools to get the same job done, right? We can use different tools to hammer in a nail or to sweep the floor. Those can all be very variable. But I wanted to share with you kind of my go-to tools that I've found that work really well, and they work perfectly for our ever mobile and ever changing military life. So let me share with you my top 6 tools that are going to get you the most bang for your buck in military life. And I'm going to start with the least expensive, and then we'll kind of move up from there. So the number 1 tool that I wanted to share with you today is something kind of unconventional. I'm going to be talking to you about using a lacrosse ball, grabbing a lacrosse ball. And these are so great because they can fit in your purse, they can fit in your luggage, they can fit in your car, in your gym bag. They're just so transportable, which is amazing. And I like to use lacrosse balls for all kinds of things, but mainly for kind of like a self-massage or a fascial release. They're great tools because they're not super hard. They're not really dense, but they're dense enough that you can really kind of use your hand or use the ground or a wall to get a little bit of leverage and be able to give yourself a nice massage. So when you've been sitting in a car all day, maybe sitting on a plane, or you've been sitting at your desk, maybe at work all day, you can just grab that lacrosse ball and roll it gently around your neck muscles, down your arms, your chest muscles, down your legs, and just relieve some of those really tight, tense muscles. Also feels so amazing if you've been traveling all day and you've been on your feet all day to take that lacrosse ball and put it underneath your feet and just kind of gently roll and just release your really tight, tense feet. I've been working so hard for you all day. So my number 1 tool for you is a lacrosse ball, a simple lacrosse ball. And these can range in price from like $3 to $7, depending on where you're getting them. You can find them anywhere. And there are tons of brand name myofascial release tools out there. They work just as well. But if you want the most bang for your buck, a simple lacrosse ball works wonders. So that's my number one tool for you. The second tool that I wanted to share with you is a set of mini bands, of mini resistance bands. And when we're talking about mini bands, there's all variety of resistance bands out there, right? But when we're saying mini bands, I'm specifically talking about the ones that are looped in a circle. So it's like an elastic band looped continuously. So you can imagine kind of like wrapping it around your thighs. You've seen people use kind of variations of these for squats or leg lifts, that kind of stuff. So mini resistance bands. And I have found that like a set variety of different resistances works really well. So they pack really well. They fold up really small. So they slide right into your bag really easily. And you know what? I'm going to link all of the tools that we're talking about today. So if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, don't worry. Go down into the show notes. I'm going to link a PDF of all 6 of these items so you can easily see what I'm talking about. And then I've also linked to a site that you could go to if you were looking at purchasing them, but you don't have to. You could really find them wherever you want. Just use this as a quick guideline or a quick tool reference for you. So those mini bands are great because they add really easy resistance to almost any movement that you're doing. So as we mentioned, you could wrap them around your thighs or right below your knees and do some body weight squats with that little extra resistance. You could also use those resistance bands to do a lot of mobility exercises. So you could wrap them around your foot and kind of flex and extend your foot to really work those tiny muscles around your ankle and strengthen those. I also like to add them to a lot of different core exercises. So you could add these to dead bugs. You could add these to a tall plank and tap out one hand at a time. So you could get that little extra bit of resistance to your core exercises. They're just great. They work for nearly everything. You could even use them for rows. They're amazing. So you can usually get a set of those different resistance levels for under $20. I've seen them for as low as $6 for a set. And then if you want the kind of more durable versions, they can run you somewhere around $20. But I mean, $20, that's going to last you forever. Well worth their money, I think. So they pack really well. They fold up. They're great. I'd highly recommend a set of mini bands. And then let's go up a little bit more. If you were looking to spend just a little bit more and have a little bit more variety to your toolbox, this is actually kind of a fun one. So we're going to call them sliders. So if you can imagine like a little piece of plastic that moves really easily on a carpet, those are sliders. And I'm going to recommend a brand called Val Slides because Val Slides are specifically designed for exercise. They can run you about $20 for a set of Val Slides. But here's a little quick pro tip. I have found that larger furniture sliders, those little discs that you put underneath heavy furniture to help you move it around your house, work just as well. So if you want to save some money, and please, I don't want to hear you coming back telling me that, you got hurt using them. This is at your own discretion. It's just a little pro tip. It works great for me, and it's worked great for a lot of people that I know. Grabbing a set of furniture sliders can cost you like $2 for a set. So way cheaper than the brand name Val Slides, and they seem to work just as well for me and for many other people. So that's a little insider tip for you. Sliders are amazing because we can do a lot of activity without a lot of impact. So imagine you're in like a hotel room and you're not on the ground floor. You want to make sure you're not causing a lot of noise for the people who are in the room below you. Sliders are great because we can do all sorts of lunge variations. We can do all sorts of plank variations without having to pick up our feet and put them down somewhere else. So it helps to quiet the noise and also can add some additional challenge to your exercises. So a set of sliders will run you anywhere from $2 up to about $20 for a set. And again, they slide so easily into your suitcase. They take up virtually no room. So that would be my third recommendation for you. So all 3 of those first options that I gave you all run $20 or less. So you're going to get a ton of value. You're going to use them forever, and they will pack and go wherever you're going, whether you're PCSing, you're deploying, or you're, going on an extended vacation. They're great options to add some variety, some challenge, and help you get a great workout in at a virtually no cost, and they take up virtually no room in your suitcase.
Hey, fellow milspouse. Ever felt the frustration of being forced to restart your fitness routine every time military life throws you a curveball? Whether it's a PCS, a deployment, or a short-term assignment, disruptions can make progress feel nearly impossible. But now there's a solution designed just for you. The PCS-Proof fitness program from FitPath Coaching. Designed by a woman in military life, for women in military life. It's flexible, adaptable, and affordable. No more setbacks or starting over, just steady progress on your terms. Visit fitpathcoaching.com/PCS-Proof-Fitness to start your journey today. And as a special offer for our podcast listeners, get your first month free with promo code POD4FREE. That's POD, the number 4, FREE. Say goodbye to stress and frustration and hello to a stronger, healthier, happier you with PCS-Proof Fitness. Join us today and get ready to conquer any challenge military life sends your way. PCS-Proof Fitness, join today.
So now we're going to go up into maybe a little bit more relatively expensive to the first three options, but also are going to just have so much variety and you can use them for so many different things. So my fourth option for you is a set of resistance bands. So these are different from the mini bands that I was mentioning. Resistance bands are a little bit longer. And again, there are many variations of resistance bands. These could be, some people call them pull-up assist bands. You'll find them called that. Sometimes they're called resistance tubing. There's all kinds of varieties of them. Doesn't really matter to me. It's your preference. I'm going to include a link to resistance bands that are kind of like pull-up assist bands because they work really great for me, especially if you add a set of really cheap clippable handles to them. But really, whatever works best for you is great for me. These are really amazing because you can add a ton of resistance to almost any movement. You could add some resistance to your squats. You could create some resistance to be able to perform a row movement. You could add some resistance for your deadlift. You could also use these as a challenge for your push-ups or to help you assist your push-ups. And then, of course, as the name mentions, these can be used for pull-up assistance. So if you wanted to progress to being able to do a full body weight pull-up, this is the best way to do it by using these pull-up assist bands. I would recommend trying to find a set of these. So, they can run you anywhere from $30 to $50 for a good set. And you really do want to make sure you're not getting the cheapy ones because these do tend to eventually, if you're not caring for them, they'll dry out, they'll get brittle, and they will snap. And we don't want that. So that's why I'm recommending, spending a little bit more money to get a good set of durable resistance or pull-up assist bands. The ones that I recommended to you give you a set of 5 and at varying resistance levels, so you can play around with the resistance. You could even combine 2 different bands together to create an additional resistance. So you have this whole spectrum of resistance levels that you can play around with to find what matches your current level. And these are also great. They don't take up a ton of space. They do take up a little bit more than the first 3 options, but they would just as well pack into your suitcase, especially if you're going to be traveling for a long period of time. All right, so now the 5th option that I have for you is a sandbag. And sandbags are just an amazing tool, no matter if you're traveling or working out at your gym or your home gym. I would recommend having a sandbag to everyone because they mimic life so well. And we want to strengthen movements so that they mimic the life that you want to live, right? So sandbags are amazing because they have movement, and the things that we're moving in life tend to move. So I think of it as like a sandbag is like a bag of cats. It's constantly moving, and our body has to react to be able to handle that constantly changing resistance. So that's why a sandbag is so amazing, not just for travel, but for any time. So I would recommend Ultimate Sandbag. That's a brand name, But I like Ultimate Sandbag because they are extremely durable. Like once you spend money on your Ultimate Sandbag, the likelihood of you having to replace that anytime soon is very, very slim. So when you invest that initial investment, it's going to last you a really long time. So I've listed a link to an Ultimate Sandbag that's a little bit more compact. So it's great for travel. I have one for myself. I've given them out as gifts to other people and to clients. They're wonderful. So it really lasts forever. And the nice thing about sandbags is that you can empty out the sand insert and it will allow you to roll up that bag and it packs really easily. And then when you get to your new destination, just find some sand and fill it back up. And now you have your resistance level. So you can see it's a lot easier to transport than, say, kettlebells or dumbbells or barbell, So it's just a really effective, transportable tool that's just going to get you a ton of bang for your buck. And Ultimate Sandbags, depending on which one you choose and the weight range that you want, they can run you, it's a little bit more expensive, but anywhere between $60 and $120. But I'm telling you, it is worth the money and you will get your money's worth out of this tool. And then my last tool that I wanted to share with you, and you may have seen these in your local gym or you may have heard of them. These are the TRX suspension systems. TRX is what they're called. And these were actually developed originally for military personnel who were out in the field and needed a piece of equipment that was, 1, durable, that was 2, very transportable, and they could use it anywhere. So this was designed specifically for military life. It's perfect for us. And the nice thing about the TRX suspension system is that, 1, we can hook it almost anywhere. You could hook it in your door at home or in your hotel room. You could also hook it around something. So if you were outside and you have something really sturdy, like a very sturdy tree, or you'll see these advertised as being hooked up to like a Humvee. If you have something really stable that you can hook it up to, it can be transported and used almost anywhere in the world. They are a little bit more expensive. You will see these ranging from $75 all the way up to $250, depending on which version of the TRX you use. The home one works great, but I would really encourage you to get like the 1 level up of this. And I've linked that in the PDF that I'm going to have in the show notes for you. So you can click on that and take a look. They also do run a lot of deals on this. So check out your local exchange. And Labor Day weekend is coming up, so that might be a great time to look into investing in a TRX suspension system. The cool thing about TRX is that not only were they developed for military, but they're developed to be durable forever. So once you buy this, you probably will never have to replace it. I have mine. I've had it for 8 years, and I used it heavily when I was training clients in person, and it still works and it looks just as good as the first day that I bought it. So highly recommend. It is a little bit more of an investment, but you again will get your money's worth over the lifetime of this tool. And again, it was developed for military. It was developed for us. So definitely recommend that. It is worth the money. And one tool that I'm going to share with you that is not included in my PDF, but it's something that I've kind of been toying around with and playing around with, and I'll just share it with you now so you get a little sneak peek, that there are a lot of tools that are coming out on the market now that are like weighted vests using water, and they've always had them with sand. So you might see ones with sand, which would work great as well. But I've also seen some coming out are inflated with water. So you add weight to it by inflating it with water. And I've kind of been thinking about that and looking into that as another option that would be great for us as constantly traveling, constantly on the move, women in military life. And we need something that's just going to add that little extra bit of resistance, challenge, variety to our workouts that also will be easily transportable. So if I find a good one, I may link that down in the notes, but just know if you kind of like search on Amazon or just search on the internet for water inflatable weight vests, that might be another option that works great for you. So those are my 6 plus 1 favorite tools, my go-to tools. If I was getting ready to PCS or if I was getting ready to go on an extended trip, those would be the 6 things that I would make sure that I packed with me. And those would be the 6 things that I recommend to all of my clients as they're getting ready to PCS. Do I force anyone to buy these tools? Absolutely not. There is so much that we can do without any equipment at all that will allow us to still get a great workout in without having to spend a single dime. These 6 tools that I'm giving you today and I'm going to share in a PDF with you are just options. They're just things that I would recommend that I think you're going to get a lot of value out of. It's just going to help us add a little bit of variety, some fun into our workouts. It will help keep us motivated to keep going even when stress levels are high. So there it is. Those are my 6 PCS-proof equipment recommendations for you. I've put them all together into a really easy PDF with links to some suggested options. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you go and find other options out there. I just want to make it easier for you by giving you some suggestions. So you can go down to the show notes, click the link to download my PCS-proof equipment list, and then I'd love to hear from you. What do you love? Have you tried some of these? Do they work out great for you? Do you have another tool that works great? I'd love to hear it. You can head over to our podcast Instagram page, which is at PCS-Proof Podcast. You can message me there. You could also shoot me a private message on my personal Instagram, which is at Grace B Fitness. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to hear what tools have worked well for you as a woman in military life. Thank you again for joining me for another episode of the PCS-Proof Podcast. And thank you, as always, for helping me spread the word. I appreciate you guys sharing this with the women in your life and for leaving me 5-star reviews on this podcast to help me spread the word to more women in military life who need to hear this. And again, if you have a story about how you've PCS-proofed a part of your fitness, your life, your health, your career, I would love to hear your story and share that with the rest of our audience. Head over to our website, fitpathcoaching.com/PCS-proof-podcast and click the link at the bottom of the page to submit an application to join us as a guest on a future episode. I would love to hear from you. And with that being said, I hope you have an amazing week ahead. I am looking forward to returning from this vacation with some amazing stories and some adventures to share with you, and then being right back at it with more PCS-proofing content for you. And I hope that you remember that no matter where in the world military life sends you, together we are PCS-proof. Adios.
And here is the legal language. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to replace professional advice. The views expressed in this podcast may not be those of the host or fitpathcoaching.com. Moreover, we are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from the use of this podcast.